This
I'm not
conference
able
will
to
now
view
be
this. Yeah,
recorded.
I can view the screen now. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So yesterday it was initial demo session where we discussed about the basics of performance testing, like what is the performance testing at a high level. And then we have also discussed about one of the component called Vugen, where we recorded a script and we executed the script, and we have seen how the response times are being tracked. Okay. Also, we have discussed about the load runner architecture at a high level again. So, sorry. So, and also we have gone through the course content. So in today's session, we will be discussing about the performance testing and the types of performance testing. So consider the bank application. Okay, consider the bank application like any bank website. So normally any bank website, the peak hour, like when I say peak hour, more number of users access the bank website probably around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in the morning, right? So let's say that the users accessing the bank application are user 1, 2, 3, 4, so on till 100, right? So here users are nothing but people accessing bank application. Users are nothing but people accessing bank application. So, and then all these users who logged in simultaneously are called concurrent users. That means the users who are accessing the bank website, they are called as concurrent users. Okay, so and then these users test different scenarios from the bank application. Let's say what are the critical scenarios of a bank application. It can be something like downloading a bank statement, or transferring money from one account to another account, or it can be paying a credit card bill. So these are the possible critical scenarios, right? So who will give these scenarios to us? The application team or the client will give these scenarios to us for testing. Now, with these number of users, we have to test these scenarios, right? Number of users also will be given by client or the application team itself. Okay, so users are nothing but the people accessing the bank application. Now, when all these 100 users access the bank application and execute some scenarios, okay, and then we will be analyzing the performance of the application. Now you might get a doubt like, is there any generic standard or industry standard that a page should load within a specific time? Yes, as per the industry standard, if you click on a link or a button, okay, when you navigate to the next page should load within 2 seconds. In some cases, depending on the project, it can be 3 or 5 seconds also. Okay, I repeat, when you click a button or when you click a link, you will be navigated to some other page, right? The next page should be loaded in 2 seconds as per the industry standard. Now it can be 3 or 5 seconds depending on the project complexity or the project architecture. That will be decided by the client or the application architect. Okay, now so on a high level, performance testing is all about how the application is responding, how fast the application is responding under some virtual user load, or you can say under some load, or you can say under or with more number of users or multiple number of users. Okay, how the application is responding when we test with multiple number of users. Okay, or you can say under some load. What is load? Load is nothing but the number of users accessing the application. Okay, so this is high level information about the performance testing. Now with that information, we are good to know that we got some information about performance testing. Right now, if anyone is asking you about what is performance testing, you can directly say that performance testing is all about how fast the application is responding under some virtual user load or some user load or with multiple number of users. Okay, but uh, as a performance tester, we should also know the textbook kind of definition as well, right? So this is the definition which you are seeing on the screen, is a kind of technical definition or textbook kind of definition. Trust me, if you go to any interview and if you attend any interview for any number of years of experience, they will definitely not ask you about what is performance testing. Definitely they won't ask you about what is performance testing. Okay, they assume that you are already working on performance testing. They will ask you some advanced questions, not what is performance testing, right? But for us, as a performance tester, we should know what is a textbook kind of definition as well, or the technical definition as well. So here, if you see this definition, performance testing is testing an application for speed, stability, and scalability in production-like environment under virtual user load to meet non-functional requirements. I know this definition looks little bit complex to understand in one go, right? So no need to worry. We will understand this definition by splitting into important words. Like we will try to understand the terms called speed, stability, scalability, production like environment, non-functional requirements, like this. So when you know the definitions of these terms, it is easy to understand the overall definition as well, right? So without wasting any time, we will discuss about what is speed, stability, and scalability. Okay, so basically performance testing is measured using speed, stability, and scalability. So long back, around so many years ago, performance testing was measured only with respect to speed. Okay, but due to this change in the project, the way the projects are working, the agile teams, agile works, and so on. Okay, the performance testing is also measured with respect to stability and scalability as well. Okay, so first we'll discuss about speed. So speed is how fast the application is responding to your request with the expected or current load. Okay, so how fast the application is responding with the current load or the expected load. Okay, in other words, response time should be less than the SLA. SLA means service level agreement. So basically, whatever I told you, the industry standard, it could be 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 5 seconds, right? So that is the SLA. That is the SLA. Okay, so how fast the application is responding to your request with expected or current load. Okay, this is about speed. And then you have a term called stability. Here stability means performance should not degrade even after using the application for a long time. For example, if you are using the application for 4 hours or 5 hours continuously, how the application is responding in the first 1 hour, like how fast the application is responding in the first 1 hour, it should be responding in the same way throughout the 5 hours. Like in the first 1 hour, it cannot if the response times are less than 2 seconds or 3 seconds or something like that, and in the later part of the execution, like 4th hour or 5th hour of execution, it cannot be 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds. That means the response times should be constant throughout the test. There should be some stability. Okay, the performance should not degrade. And then there is scalability. Application's ability, what do you mean by scalability? Application's ability to handle increasing user without performance degradation. So it's all about increasing the user volume, okay, keeping the future growth in mind. For example, let's say that you have an application for which the current number of users are 500. Now let's say your application or your business might increase in future, maybe next 6 months or 1 year. Now you're assuming that your number of users accessing the application might increase from 500 to 1000. So now we have to test the application for scalability. That means we have to test the application for 1000 users as well. So keep these three terms in mind: speed, stability, and scalability. So I will relate these three words in some time from now when we discuss about different types of performance testing. Okay, speed is nothing but how fast the application is responding. Stability is nothing but the performance should not degrade even after executing for a long time. Scalability is nothing but increasing the user load, keeping future growth in mind. Okay, without performance degradation. Okay, so speed, stability, and scalability, these are the three terms. Okay, so just make a note of these three terms, which I will relate to different types of testing in some time from now. Okay, then going to the next screen. So here Okay, for time being, you can ignore this particular slide. This slide we will cover tomorrow because we have a specific slide for discussing about the architecture, where we have to understand the terms called server, application server, database server, web server, load balancer, so and so on. So we have a separate session tomorrow to understand these terms and terminologies and about architecture as well. So I would like to cover this particular slide tomorrow for sure. Okay. So and then we have something called types of performance testing. So there are different types of performance testing. So basically, the ones which you are able to see the screen on right now are the most important ones. Okay. So load test. The first one is the load test. So okay, let me read out the names: load test, stress test, endurance test, scalability test, volume test, failover test. So failover test, I will try to cover tomorrow because that is again related to servers and all those things mostly. So I would like to explain with a diagram tomorrow. Uh, so let's cover the first 5 types of performance testing today. So the first one is load test. So basically, load test will ensure that the application under test is stable and can handle expected load once the application is deployed. So basically, load test means it's related to speed, the term which we have discussed right just few minutes ago, speed. So you can directly say that a load test is all about how the application is responding under some load or under some expected load. Simple. How the application is responding, how fast the application is responding under some load. So that is about load test. Okay. Now, who will give the expected load for us? For example, I want to execute a load test for bank application. I want to execute a load test for bank application. Now, bank application will have different scenarios like downloading a bank statement, transferring money from one account to another account, and so on. Now, who will tell me, like, for downloading a bank statement, with how many users I have to test? For load test, what is the expected user load? Who will give me? So let's say here I'm assuming that. So here in this case, so basically here in this case, I'm assuming that the load is 500 users. But who is giving this number? Who is giving this number? How to get the expected load? So basically the client will give you this particular number. For every scenario, for every critical business scenario you test, the client or the application team or the business analyst will give you the number of users to test. Okay. So it doesn't mean that the entire application will be tested by with 500 users at a time. It's not like that. Basically, it depends on scenario. For example, download bank statement can be executed by 500 users. Transfer money from one account to another account can be executed by 1000 users. It depends on the load. Who will give the load? Either client or the application team will give the load. So there is a different criteria on how they fetch this number or how they get this number and give it to us. Okay, that criteria we will discuss about. We will discuss that in the non-functional requirements session. Okay, but here the thing is, basically load test is a basic test. Okay, the first test, whenever you work in any performance testing project, the very first test you execute is the load test. Any project, it can be any project, any company, any client, whatever it is, the very base test that you perform is the load test. Load test is all about how fast the application is responding under some expected virtual user load. Now, who will give the expected load? Either client or the application team or the business analyst will give you the load. Load, number of users. When I say load, the number of users data. Okay, so this is about load test, and the load test will run for 1 hour. Load test will be executed for 1 hour. Okay, so from let's say 9:30 to 10:30 or 9 to 10 or whatever it is, load test will be executed for 1 hour only. You need not execute a load test for 2 hours or 3 hours or nothing like that. Load test should be executed for 1 hour steady state. That means I will explain you that steady state again, but basically as of now, just understand that load test will run for 1 hour. Okay, so AUT means application under test. Okay, so these are some of the terms which you might have to remember. So AUT, application under test. Okay, so this is all about load test. So this is the base test which we will execute in any project. first test actually. Whenever you get any application for performance testing, the very first test you do is load testing. Okay. The next one is stress testing. Okay. So stress testing is conducted by increasing the user load gradually until the application breaks. So basically, stress testing is nothing but in, you know, as the name suggests, stress the application. Keep on applying the load. Stress it as much as you can until the application breaks. Objective of this test is to obtain the breaking point or saturation point. Once the breaking point is attained, there is a noticeable increase in errors and also there is a big increase in response times. So I will tell you one example. So let's say that you went to a restaurant, okay, where there are 5 tables to sit and have food. Okay, there are 5 tables and there is one helper or whatever you can say, helper or server or waiter, whatever you can say. There is a one server or a helper or waiter uh, who is taking care of those 5 tables. When I say taking care of 5 tables, that person is responsible for taking the order from those 5 tables and also delivering the food, okay, onto the table. Now the restaurant is quite busy and the owner of the restaurant decided to increase the number of tables from 5 to 7, and now this helper or waiter or server is now managing 7 tables instead of 5. Even though the number of tables increased from 5 to 7, he is able to take the order from all these 7 tables, and also he is able to deliver the food as well. Okay, now the demand has increased again. Now the owner of the restaurant has decided to increase the number of tables from 7 to 9. 7 to 9. Now the same waiter or helper is still able to take the order from all the 9 tables, but the amount of time he is taking to deliver the food is delayed by some time. You got my point? The waiter or helper is still able to take the order from all the 9 tables, but the amount of time he is taking to deliver the food is delayed by some time. Like let's say when there were only 5 or 7 tables, he was able to deliver the food in 15 minutes. Now because the number of tables increased from 7 to 9, he is not able to deliver the food in 15 minutes. Rather than that, he is able to deliver the food in, let's say, 25 minutes. Now there is an increase in time taken for him to deliver the food. Okay. Now what happened is suddenly there is there are so many customers coming to the restaurant, and there is a huge demand, and the owner of the restaurant decided to increase the number of tables from 9 to 11, and then this helper or waiter this helper or waiter was not able to manage to take the order or deliver the food. So what happened is the max he could deliver, the max he could manage was 9 tables. When the owner of the restaurant increased the number of tables from 9 to 11, he could not manage. The helper or waiter could not manage to take the order or deliver the food. He said, "No, I cannot do it. It's done. I myself cannot do it by anymore." So he left it. He left. He is not responding. He is not responding. He is not delivering the food. He is not taking the order. Nothing is happening. Okay. Now in the same way here also, basically when we test the application, let's say with 500 users, let's say for the load test it is 500 users. Let's say load test is 500 users. Now coming to stress test, we keep on adding some stress to the application by increasing the number of users. Let's say 500 users we test it, and then we we increase it to 800, we increase it to 1200, and we increase it to 1500. So what happens is when we keep on increasing the users, at some point of time the amount of time or the response times will be increased. Like let's say when you click a link, earlier it used to navigate in 2 seconds. Now because the number of users increased, now it might take like 5 or 10 seconds. Okay. Now let's say the users increase to 1600. Now the application crashes. Assume that application crashes. Now the application is not able to support 1600 users. The max it could support is only 1500. That too, there is a delay in time. That too, there is a performance degradation. Okay, high response times were coming. Okay, so stress test is all about obtaining a saturation point or breaking point. Okay, so until how many users it is supporting, until how many users it is able to manage the stress. Okay, so that is all about stress testing. Now, the stress test is
I have
all
a
about
question here.
increase. Yeah, tell me.
Hello. Hi. Sorry to break the chain. So that in stress says we are saying that suppose if I am running my JMeter script and we are doing a stress test for say 1500 user. So at the break point, it will stop executing and the script will hang, or it will give all
So,
request failed. How
so
it will be like, how we observe it.
So what happens is when you keep on increasing the users, so at
Hmm.
some point of time you will see high response times. That means earlier when you started the test, the response times were within the range, like 2 seconds or 3
Mhm.
seconds. Okay. Now when you keep on increasing the number of users, you might
Hmm.
see some spike in the response times. That means you might see some high response times, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15
Correct.
seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. And then beyond that, you will see errors. Errors are because due to the application stopped responding, or
Mhm.
it is hanged completely, or it is freezed, or it is continuously loading forever. Okay, uh, the
Mhm.
reason could be the application is not able to handle the stress. Okay, so when you see that sort of an issue, then you the basic thing is you are trying to identify the max limit, the application can handle. So you have to test, or you have to apply the stress until the application breaks. Okay, so what happens is you are telling the client that, hey, your application will support only 1500 users. It cannot support beyond that with this particular architecture, whatever you have. Like, let's say the performance testing is all about servers, right? So let's say the server configuration is 8 GB RAM, some CPU configuration and all. So with this configuration, your application will handle only 1500 users. So that is what we have to tell the client by performing the stress test. So it's not about
Okay.
what are the response times, why the response times are increasing, not like that. Yes, we do know that
Mhm.
at some point the response times will increase, and at some point it will stop responding. So what is that point, we have to find out. Okay,
Okay.
so
Got it.
it is a common topic, for both load runner or JMeter or whatever it is, whatever may be the tool, the concept is common. Okay, and then we have one more type of test called endurance test. We also call it as a soak test or a duration test. So different projects call with different names. So if you call it as an endurance test, or it is a soak test or a duration test, all three are same. Okay, so when do we go for endurance test is when we want to test the application for stability. Okay, so testing for stability is nothing but endurance or soak test. So the test will run for a minimum of 3 hours or 5 hours or 8 hours or 1 day or 3 days or 5 days. So you might be surprised, like, is there any application that will run for 5 days for testing the performance? Yes, we do have some applications which run for days also, but it is very rare. But initially, if there are any issues identified, we will identify before only, like when we test for 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 1 day. So like within that only we'll be able to identify the issues mostly. But very rare the test will happen for 3 days or 5 days or something like that. So the minimum amount of time we have to run an endurance test is 3 hours. Okay, and it can go beyond, like 5 hours, 8 hours, 1 day, something like that. Okay, so why are we testing this particular application for longer duration? So we are specifically testing this application for stability. That means Let's assume that we are running the test for 5 hours. So how the application is responding in the first 1 hour, in a similar way, it should respond throughout the test. Like in the first 1 hour, the response times can, if you say that response times are less than 2 seconds or 3 seconds, so it should be the same throughout the test. It cannot be like in the first 1 hour response times are absolutely fine. In the last 1 hour, the response times have increased and the performance degraded. Then that means there is no stability. So when there is no stability, the application will behave differently, abnormally. Okay, and the major reason why we perform this test is, one thing is on a theoretical point of view, we call it as a stability, testing the application for stability. But the main reason why we test is to identify the bottlenecks like memory leaks. To identify the bottlenecks like memory leaks. So what is a memory leak? Why it happens? I will explain you in our upcoming sessions, because guys coming from non-IT background might not understand this heap memory and this all these concepts now. Even though there is some information in the slide which you are able to see, I will definitely cover these points in our upcoming sessions. Okay, I'm just ignoring this now because guys coming from non-IT background having issues to understand these concepts. Okay, but on a high level, what you understand from this particular type of test is, we are testing this and we are going for endurance test or soak test or duration test to test the application for stability, and majorly to identify the performance bottlenecks like memory leaks, etc. Memory leaks, mostly it is memory leak only. So how a memory leak will happen, when it will happen, okay, what should we do when the memory leak happens, what should be the solution for that, everything we will discuss in detail in our upcoming sessions. Okay, so this is one type of performance test, and you can relate the term stability to this particular type of test. So previously we discussed about stability, right? So here you can relate the term stability to this type of test. So basically, here you can see the term bottleneck. So bottleneck is nothing but issue, any issue related to performance. It could be high response times, it could be application crashing, whatever it may be, we call it as a bottleneck. In performance testing terminology, we call it as bottleneck. Basically, if you are new to performance testing, we call it as an issue. Hey, I observed an issue during my performance test, that I'm seeing a high response times or the application is crashing, something like that. But if you are a performance tester, you use the terms called bottleneck. So if you go to any interview, they will ask you what kind of bottlenecks did you find out and what was the solution to that. Okay, in your recent projects, what were the different bottlenecks you identified and what were the solutions for those? So something like that. Okay, and the next test is scalability test. So directly the name itself is saying it's a term scalability. So testing the application for future load. So basically, so today there is an application for which we are testing with 500 users, and the client is assuming that in future, maybe near future, maybe after 6 months or 1 year, the business might increase and the number of users might increase from 500 to 1000, or the number of users might increase by 50%. So here if you see, current expected load current expected load is 500 users. Current expected load is 500 users, assuming 50% growth in next year. So currently the testing should also be done with 750 users. Okay, so keeping future growth in mind, we are testing with more number of users now itself. Okay, so that we are giving a clarity to the client, or we are assuring client that your application will support future growth as well. Okay, so again, this scalability test will also be run for 1 hour. Okay, the scalability test will also be run for 1 hour. The previous type of test, endurance, it can be run for 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It depends on the project to project. But this scalability test will be run for 1 hour for any project. Like load test only, the scalability test will also be run for 1 hour only. Okay, so keeping future growth in mind, we will go for more number of users now itself. That is about scalability test. Then you have something called volume test. So volume test is similar to load test only. Volume test is similar to load test only. Okay, volume test is similar to load test only. Okay, uh, volume test. So what is the difference then? So when I say volume test is similar to load test, the number of users you test, the number of users you test for volume test is equal to the load test only. That, for example, for load test you are testing with 500 users, the volume test you will test with 500 users only. But what is the difference? And the duration is also same, 1 hour. But what is the difference? The difference is with respect to the database. The difference is with respect to the database. So why? What is the difference with respect to database is? Let's assume that today the number of records in the database is 1 lakh, or 1 lakh records are there in the database. So the client is assuming that if you keep on using this application for next 1 year, okay, next 1 year, the number of records in the database might increase from 1 lakh to 4 lakhs or 3 lakhs. Now what we are doing now is keeping that future growth of records in database in mind, we are intentionally inserting those 3 lakh records now itself, and then then going for a load test. That means a volume test. Okay, everything is same. Only thing is we will intentionally increase or add so many lakhs of records of data into the database and see how the application is responding. Are there any long running queries? Okay, I'm assuming that you know the query. What is a query? You might have learned in college days also, like select star from employee, select star from student, something like that. So is there any long running query, such long running query? When the records are more in database, how the application is responding? That is all about volume test. You see here, it will be same as a load test, except that huge data will be populated in the database. Purpose of this test is to check if there is any change in the response time with increase in database volumes. Example, currently there are 1 lakh records in database, and assuming after 1 year there would be 4 lakh records. So the test would be currently done with 4 lakh records data in database. Now who will help us in intentionally inserting 4 lakhs records data into database? Either you can reach out to the database administrator, or you can reach out to the development team. They will help you in inserting huge amount of data into the database. Okay, so this volume test will also be done for 1 hour only.
I have
This
a
volume,
question here.
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, with there is there something like user interface, just user interface testing in performance test? Like, see, generally we have applications where we always generate data. Like, if I am creating user employee records, their salary details, and everything is being generated. So when I am doing performance testing, I record the script, and during the when the script is running, the data is generated in the database.
Okay.
So is this kind of volume test?
Uh,
If I am generating data during performance testing, like
no,
if my
no,
script
no,
is
no,
generating data, so when we
no.
execute
It
the
is not
script for
called as a
500 users, pardon me.
no. It's not called as a volume test. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to validate the data. Like when you are testing with 500 users. So when you are
Mm-hmm.
performing some actions on the UI, then you are also validating whether the data is properly stored in the database or not. So that is what you are saying, but that is nowhere related to the volume test. So what you are
Okay.
doing is just an additional validation whether the data is being properly saved into the database or not. Okay, so that is only just a validation, additional validation that you are doing. It's not
So that
like
is just a load test, not a volume
yeah, it's a
test.
load test. It's a load test only. It's a load test.
Load. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is that testing where you see we only hit the each and every page to record the response type of that particular page, and we do not generate any data, or we don't perform any other actions on that application.
See what see
And
whatever the activities or actions you perform on the UI, everything
mm-hmm.
comes under load test only. For example, you click a link, you don't do anything, you don't want to validate anything, also you click a link and just be idle. That is also load
Mm-hmm.
test only. But what kind of load test is at a time multiple users are hitting that link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is one point. But some more kind of testing is, let's say that all the users should hit that link at a time, within a fraction of a second only they should hit the link. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there could be that sort of test also, what we call it as a rendezvous point. Okay, so we will be discussing in detail, like when, how the users, or how all the users should hit a particular link at a time,
Okay.
without a delay of a fraction of second also. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we will see all those scenarios in our upcoming sessions. So
Okay.
basically, yeah, these are the different types of performance tests. We also have some one type of test called failover test, which is very popular in the recent times. I will explain you that tomorrow with a graphical diagram, because I want you to understand some terms called application server, database server, web server. And then once we understand the architecture, then I will tell you how can we perform the failover test, or what is a failover test, how should we go, or how should we test it. Okay, so these are the different types of tests that we have discussed today. So remaining topics I would like to continue tomorrow. So let me one second. See, yes, Vinay, when database increases, there is a possibility that response times also increases. That's the reason we will go for volume test. Okay, so we are checking for that only. When the records, or when the database records are increasing, is there any impact on the response times? That is what we are testing as part of volume test. And every project will not do this particular type of test. I will tell you, the most frequently executed tests are load test, and endurance test, scalability test. These three are the most frequently executed tests. Or in fact, what I can say is, you guys might be aware of the release models, like release 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is. So for every release, you do some kind of regression, right? So for every release, basically in any project, you do load test, endurance test, scalability test for sure. Most of the projects, irrespective of the client or company or whatever it is, load test, load test, endurance test, and scalability test will be done for sure. Okay, so there might be slight changes here and there depending on project to project, but I'm telling you at a high level, considering all the previous projects that I have worked on in various companies and projects. So most of the times, if you go by release model, every release, if you have to test an application, so you will test load test. First you'll go with load test, and then you will go with endurance test, and then scalability test. Okay, and then if the requirement is there, then you will go with failover test and all those things. Now whenever you are going for any interviews, they might not ask you whether have you performed the failover test or not, but at least they will ask you what is a failover test, or what is the concept of failover test, how do you test it, what is your approach in testing a failover, in doing a failover test. So these things we will discuss tomorrow for sure. Okay, so there is a slight cough today. Anyhow, we'll continue tomorrow for sure. Any questions? Any further questions? Uh, this memory leakage and all these things, I will explain you in our upcoming sessions, Tushar, for sure. Okay, I have a specific plan. I will definitely cover all these concepts. I'm just waiting for the non-IT guys also to cope up and catch the pace. So maybe very soon, the coming weekend or something like that, they might have one additional session to understand the terms and terminologies. So once that session is done, I will clearly explain you about all the different types of tests, memory leaks and all, and then we will jump into scripting, practicals, uh, practicing scripts with various applications and so on. Any other questions? Uh, why the test is extended for 5 days. See, I'm not saying every project will test for 5 days as part of endurance test. Basically, we will test for 3 hours, 5 hours, or 8 hours mostly. But some projects, when the client feels it is very critical, and they feel that it should run constantly without any issues, for so many days. Okay, if the client wants to test for 3 days or 5 days, they will test it. Otherwise, not required. It's very rare. It's very rare. It depends on client. It depends on project to project. And then when you are testing for 5 days, then or 1 day, in fact, even if it is for 1 day, you have to make sure that you are giving appropriate or sufficient amount of data to run for 5 days or 1 day or whatever it is. If you are not providing sufficient amount of data, then your test will fail with saying that insufficient amount of data or whatever it is. So test data is very crucial for a performance tester. Okay, so we will discuss all those points as well in our upcoming sessions. Any other questions? Need not be from today's session only. You can ask any generic questions. Like if you have any generic questions, like with respect to course content or duration or any specific topic, if you have any questions, anything you can ask.
How do we run this test like for 1 hour or 2 hours? Means, see, suppose I have a script, okay. When we execute the scripts, it for 50 users, say 100 users, and we set a ramp up period or something in JMeter. So it usually takes say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even if we set the timer over there, like run the test for this. So what exactly we have to do to set this particular load for 1 hour? Like, can we run the test for say 100 users? I am putting the load, but I want to run it for 1 hour. So is it possible there? And how this is done?
So no, so basically when I say load test is done for 1 hour, it is
Hmm.
excluding the ramp up and ramp down time. So
Okay.
here in load runner,
Mm-hmm.
we do have a ramp up time and ramp down time. It's just because the users has to ramp up one by one with some seconds, let's say with the duration of with the time interval of 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, something like that, because we want everything to be realistic. We have to compare with real time scenario. In real time scenario also, not at a time 100 users will not log in. That the possibility is not there. Like so even though the application is live, the number of users accessing the application might have a slight delay in terms of logging in. You might access you might access the application now. The other user might access after 5 seconds or 10 seconds later. So something like that. So so in order to simulate the load slowly, we use the concept of ramp up. So ramp up is nothing but increasing the load uh, you know
Yeah, but
slowly.
even if we use ramp up and all, how do I make my script run 1 hour? Like, if we have a guideline, like we should run this test for 1 hour, and if my script finishes running within 4 to 5 minutes, so like, do we
So you have to,
execute
yeah, I
it
got you.
repeatedly for
Okay,
one
okay.
hour, or how it is done? We
So
keep execute.
if you have a script, you have to run for 1 hour. So your script will complete in 5 minutes. Then you
Hmm.
have to run. So for 5 minutes, if your script is running, then you have to run for remaining 55 minutes also. So you have to
So keep
increase
executing
the
the
number of iterations.
iterations. Okay.
So it all depends on the input given by client. So what is the input
Hmm.
given by client? What he is expecting from us? So he says that the requirement for load test is 500 users and 2000 iterations. So these 500 users should run for 2000 iterations in 1 hour. Then you have to calculate pacing, like what should be the pacing, or so that these 500 users can run for 2000 iterations. So all these things we will discuss in our upcoming session. So because that concept is entirely dependent on pacing value. So what is pacing and all we will discuss maybe day after tomorrow. We will discuss pacing.
Okay, okay.
Any difference? When will be the session for non-IT people? A non-IT people session will be next week, anytime next week. I will update you 1 day before or 2 days before. So most probably in the first week of January for sure. After performance testing, directly application is deployed in production environment or any other tests are after performance testing? No. So first functional testing will happen, and then the automation will obviously happen, and then performance testing will happen. So without performance testing, mostly the application will not go to production. Okay. So some of the clients say that they are okay even though the performance is not good, then it's fine. It all depends on client. So nowadays everything is client centric. Whatever he does, it will happen.
After the performance testing, is there any test or else directly the application is deployed?
No, directly the application will be deployed. But if they have to do any security testing or some other non-functional testing also, they might do. But I'm not sure about the sequence. But the most commonly followed sequence is the functional testing should be done for the performance to happen. And because when the application is stable, then only we can do performance testing. Otherwise, we cannot do performance testing. So the application should be stable means the functional testing should complete. So when I say functional, you can say that the automation should also complete. So when the functional and automation completes, then the performance will come into picture. When the performance is done, it can be deployed. So scalability testing is we are just thinking of future growth. That's it. What could be the growth in the next 1 year? So stress testing is something where we continuously apply the stress and obtain a breaking point. Okay. Now in scalability testing, we are just keeping the future growth in mind, but we may or may not go and test until the application breaks. We may or may not test until the application breaks. Okay. But just if the client says my next 1 year growth is 100%, you will just test for 100% growth. And then, but in stress testing, you test for some saturation point or breaking point. So you keep on applying some stress. Okay. So it's all about scalability test is all about the future growth. Okay. And and stress testing is all about it mostly emphasizes the robustness or how the application is handling the errors when there is more stress or when there is heavy load. Okay. How the application is behaving, something like that.
Sir, how this course is useful to the experienced people like having 4 years of experience?
So
Hello?
what do you mean by 4 years of experience? Do you mean that 4 years of experience in performance or automation
Yes,
or what?
yes, performance testing, sir.
Okay, so that too with LoadRunner or any other tool?
Load runner,
That 4
JMeter.
years of experience.
Load runner and
Okay,
JMeter.
see, so even I am just curious to know, when you have a real-time experience of 4 years of performance testing in LoadRunner and JMeter, I'm not sure. Is there any specific reason to join this course, or what was your what is your thought process? When you have joined this demo, like what were you thinking? Like, oh yes,
New
you have.
upcoming,
I
new
agree.
upcoming
You have.
technology. Any additional practices and like this? Sir. In addition to regular course, any additional things?
See, if the project which you are currently working has only limited exposure, like you have been testing the same application since last 3-4 years, there is nothing new to learn, then you can go ahead and give a try, because we will practice on 3-4 applications and understand some interview questions, understand some scripting challenges, uh, understand an APM tool like AppDynamic, understand some additional protocol like TrueClient, right? So if you want to know the advanced part of it, or some advanced scripting, okay, if you want to learn these sort of things, you can, this course will definitely help you.
Thank you, sir.
uh, do we perform all these tests like stress test or load test for overall application load, or for individual functions like login logout? See, I will tell you how the testing happens. So the client will give us, let me open a notepad quickly. So the client will give some requirement like this. Let's say you are testing a bank application. Okay, the requirement will be to test the critical business scenarios. Let's say the first critical business scenario is download a bank statement. Now this download bank statement, the client says you have to test with 200 users, okay, and 200 users. Let's say 200 users. Now we have to test this download bank statement with 200 users. Now, what are the steps involved? What are the sequence of steps involved in downloading a bank statement? The first step will be launching the application, right? The second step will be login. The third step will be navigate to your account. Okay. The fourth step will be select the time range. Select the time range. That means from when to when you want to download a statement. Then fifth step will be clicking on download bank statement button, something like that. Okay, clicking on download button. The last step might be log out of the application. Log out of the application. So these are the steps, the possible steps that are involved in downloading a bank statement. Now, when you are testing this download bank statement scenario with 200 users, so all the 200 users will repeat these steps. Repeat these steps. Like, let's say when one user executes all these steps one time, that will be one iteration. You got my point? When one user executes all these steps once, it will be one iteration. So these 200 users, if they are running for 1 hour, so they might have to achieve some target, like they might have to achieve like target of, let's say, 1000 iterations. So this data the client will give to us. So this data the client will give to us. So based on this data, we have to execute. We have to plan our execution. How to plan our execution, how to execute and all, we will discuss in our upcoming sessions. So on a high level, this is a scenario name, what the client has given. These are the possible sequence of steps that the scenario contains. And every user has to go through, execute these steps. Okay, hope your question is answered.
So the scenarios are always given by client, or do we have to write the scenarios and the client
Scenario
will?
scenario and steps will be given by client or the application team. Okay, so when I say the application team, it can be an application development team, or the business analyst can give directly the scenario name and the steps, and they also give this data to us. So when you have all this data, it will be easy for you to scripting. See, how do you script? First of all, when you know the sequence of steps, then only you can go ahead and record the script. When you don't know the sequence of steps, you cannot record the script. So this sequence of steps is very important, and they will provide us. Okay, they will also provide us this data also, with how much of load you have to apply for this particular scenario. And then there might be a next scenario. For example, next scenario is transfer money. Next scenario is transfer money. Let's say transfer money. Now, let's say 800 users we have to test. Okay, and we have to achieve the target of, let's say, 6000 iterations, something like that, in 1 hour. Okay, and for transfer money, you have to write down the sequence of steps. That means they will give you the sequence of steps. So every scenario will have a different set of load. Okay, that it doesn't mean that all the scenarios in bank application will have the same number of load. No, download bank statement, we might have to test with different number. That means 200 users, for example, here. So transfer money, you have to test with a different number. Let's say the 800 users or something like what you are seeing here. Okay, so every scenario you have to test with different set of users. Okay, so so what is the definition of non-functional testing? So non-functional, see, it's a broader term. A non-functional testing means it can be related to performance, it can be related to security, and so on. So this particular topic I will elaborate in our additional session, which is specific to non-IT guys, right? So anyone can join, but these terms and terminologies I will highlight or elaborate in that particular session for sure. But on a high level, non-functional testing is all about testing the application for performance, security, and so on. Okay, we are not testing the functionality part. Okay, basically we are not testing the functionality part. That means if I click a button, what should happen? I'm not testing for that. I'm not testing for the functionality part. I'm testing for non-functionality part, which is related to something like performance, security, and so on. Iteration means one sequence of steps. When you execute this sequence of steps once, that is called one iteration. One round, you can say one round of execution. One iteration means one round of execution. Okay, if you execute the, let's say, launch, login, navigate, select time range, download bank statement, logout. When you execute all these steps once, it will become one iteration, one round of execution. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I hope I addressed all the questions. Okay, is there any coding language required to non-functional testing? Yes, we will cover C language basics. Like if you see the course content yesterday, uh, which I will share anyhow, the course content PPT. So basically, we will discuss about the basics of C language, and which is definitely useful for enhancing the script after recording. Okay, enhancing the script after recording. So how much maximum load we can give in load runner tool? Good question. It depends on the license you purchase. So basically, whenever a company purchases some license, so they purchase for a license for 10,000 users, 20,000 users, and so on. So it depends on the tool that the license that we have, and also it depends on the protocol also. But mostly it depends on the license we have and also the protocol. Okay, so hope all the questions have been answered. And if there are any further questions, you can just text in the WhatsApp group or directly ping me. I will call you and explain. Okay, and tomorrow we will discuss about the server architecture. What is a server? What is the app server? What is the web server? What is the database server? Uh, what is scale up, scale down? Okay, so all these important points we will discuss. What is a protocol? All these important points we will discuss tomorrow. And day after tomorrow we will discuss about the workload modeling, which is very important. And and then probably after 3 or 4 sessions we will start practical sessions. So first 3 or 4 sessions or 4 or 5 sessions are only will be theoretical, and those theoretical concepts are also very important. Okay, and then once these 4 or 5 sessions are completed, then we will directly jump into practical sessions. So from there on, everything will be practicals, nothing theoretical. Everything will be shown in the tool directly.